That's what I'm talking about! St. Nick saves the day and gives us a Christmas miracle. Bears win 25-24 over the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Seattle in a winter wonderland. You cannot make this up. What a fantastic win for this team, despite it meaning absolutely nothing. A meaningless game for both of these teams, but for us to come into Seattle and take down Russell Wilson with our third-string quarterback and a decimated roster is very impressive, and I'm liking what I'm seeing, and this is me looking into the future for next year, basically. Just a gutsy win, some magic from Nick Foles, and Matt Nagy had some risky play calling, but it ended up working out this time, and he ended up getting the win. Look, as much hate as Matt Nagy has gotten throughout this entire season, I'm happy for him that he was able to get a win like this when he pretty much knows that his job is all but done for. So seeing him get a win like this when everyone thought we were going to lose, I did too. To see them actually win this game was very impressive for me. I was impressed. And the team stayed in this game. That was what the name of the game was. They played down pretty much the entire game. And they ended up getting the victory. I mean, look. I was thinking going through this game, like, oh, it's a close game, but we're not going to end up getting the lead here. That was kind of the way that I went through this game, especially in the second half when Seattle was up by 10 in the fourth quarter. It was like, oh, nice. Got some points, got the field goal, whatnot. You know, it's important. But, I mean, once Myers missed the 39-yard field goal, it felt like there was a chance for the Bears to end up coming out with the win in this game. And Robert Quinn having his one sack of the game, his 17th of the season, and it becomes probably the most crucial defensive play in keeping this team in the game that we needed in this game. I think that sack set up the longer field goal for Myers, which he missed. And, well, the defense played well after they had that first bad play against DK Metcalf and Wilson was able to find him. The Seahawks offense was not explosive. They really couldn't do anything else offensively. And, well, they did exactly what they needed to get the job done. 24 points laying up. That's a pretty, if you're going to be able to do that consistently, you're going to win quite a few games if your offense can score. And that's been a big problem this year for this team. We cannot score. So 24 points, scoring 24 points a game is not easy. It's a very difficult thing for this team to do in a game. And they somehow were able to do it. So David Montgomery had the first half touchdown. Khalil Herbert had a really nice run to get us our second touchdown of the game, his second of the season, the only other one coming against Green Bay in Week 6. And then the final drive of the game from Nick Foles. This is one I want to touch upon because this is about under 4 minutes to go. Once Myers missed that field goal, I knew that this team actually had a shot. That was when I started actually getting my hopes up. Because I came into this game not really having any hope. Just kind of like, hey, it's fun to watch. But once Myers missed that, I had some hope come back in. And once Foles on that 4th and 2 decided not to tuck it down and just throw it, and obviously it fell incomplete. It felt like the game was over at that point. Yeah, and then the defense stepped up again, getting a huge stop, forcing the Seahawks to punt. And on the first play on this ensuing drive with under 4 minutes to go, I think under 3 minutes to go, Foles hits Mooney, and Mooney showed his grit that he wants to win and he wants to keep his roster spot because he breaks a couple tackles and probably gets about a good 15, 20 yards after the catch here just by breaking tackles. and just churning those legs. I mean, he did a fantastic job on that play, and we were set up at about midfield in just one play. No doubt about it, Darnell Mooney has been our biggest playmaker on offense this season, outside of David Montgomery, our best receiver. He's taken that over Robinson, as Fields and Robinson never really gelled, and I've come to accept the fate that Robinson's going to be gone during the offseason. I can talk more about that after the season ends. But Mooney has become the number one target on the team, and it's plays like that show why he has become the number one target. And some guys that we signed in the offseason who I thought were just kind of signings that we weren't going to do much with. Marquise Goodwin, throughout the course of the season, has had some nice plays, most notably the fourth down touchdown catch to give us the lead against the Ravens, which we ultimately blew, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. And then Damiere Byrd, who's been quiet and arguably bad this entire season. He gets that big touchdown against Green Bay, breaks off that big run out of nowhere on the slant pass. And then in this game, Damiere Byrd has probably the best individual catch this season, not only for the Bears. I don't know about the NFL, but it could potentially be a top 10 catch of the year in the NFL. Plus, after the Mooney catch, there was a 15-yard penalty, extra yardage added to the end of that run, which just, in one play, this drive started to be a big, daunting task, and a ton of that pressure was lifted in just one play. So then the Bears naturally have been driving down the field, and they get into the red zone. And see, it's like 3rd and 14, 3rd and goal, basically. You can get the first down with the touchdown, but that first down marker is inside the 1-yard line. You're basically taking an end zone shot here after Foles almost fumbled the game away 2 plays before. And on this play, Foles just heaves it up into the corner of the end zone for guess who? Jimmy Graham, the best red zone target tight end you could ask for. Super tall. And I mean, he barely even had to jump, and it looked like he just absolutely mossed these receivers. He made that look effortless. And I'm like, yes, touchdown. Let's tie this game, baby. And then I see the 2-point conversion call from Matt Nagy. On this 2-point conversion attempt, Nick Foles rolls out and fires to the back of the end zone, with Damiere Byrd making the catch, with 3 Seahawk defenders trying to push him out of the end zone. But luckily for him, as he's falling, he gets that knee down before the elbow, and it counts as a catch, and 2 points for the Bears. They take the lead 25-24. An absolutely phenomenal catch by Damiere Byrd that honestly did not have to be this difficult, as Foles, as if you look at the play, Foles could have hit Damiere Byrd way earlier and converted the 2-point conversion much earlier instead of having to do what he did. But this 2-point conversion was very interesting from a play call standpoint and just an overall gutsy call standpoint, because Matt Nagy went for it here. And I had seen in just the past couple of weeks the Baltimore Ravens try this same thing twice, scoring a touchdown late in the game, going for 2, and failing twice against the Steelers and then the Green Bay Packers. So when I initially saw Matt Nagy going for it, I hoped that they were going to do what I thought the Ravens were going to do against the Packers, try to draw them off sides and then kick the extra point. But they ended up running with the play the first time, and Foles ended up finding Byrd in the back of the end zone for the 2. And with a minute to go in the game, the Bears had the lead, and Seattle couldn't get it done. Russell Wilson could not convert. And the Bears hung on to a improbable, unthinkable victory at this point in the season over the Seattle Seahawks to get their 5th win of the season. And I mean, how the mighty have fallen. The Bears were 3-2 after 5 games. The team has gone 2-8 since in their last 10 games. It's just been a brutal season, and a handful of these losses have been heartbreaking. So this one feels nice to get a win against a team not named the Detroit Lions for the first time in like 3 months at this point. But as I was saying before, some of this new veteran talent that we had signed in, like Marquise Goodwin and Damiere Byrd before the season started, they hadn't really done much. And then later in the year now, they've started to come out and make some big plays. Jakeem Grant was a free agent, or no, we traded for Jakeem Grant, a 6th-round pick to the Dolphins, and he did what he did against Green Bay. And he was not available to play in this game, unfortunately. But Jakeem Grant has proven to be actually a pretty good signing. These 3 players are all veterans, and they came together in Chicago to make some really nice plays here in the tail end of the year when COVID has ravaged this team. But besides anything, this was a meaningless game, and the Bears ended up getting a nice win. It doesn't matter. We can win out. It's not going to matter. We could win against the Giants and the Vikings these next 2 weeks. All it will do is give the Giants a worse first-round draft selection, as we don't have a first-round pick. So pretty much for us, there's not really an incentive to tank unless you really want to get Nagy fired, which that's another interesting point. We started the season 3-2, and the 2 wins that we've had against Detroit and now Seattle, both road wins, by the way, Matt Nagy was on the hot seat and could have potentially been fired had we lost to Detroit or had we lost this game, and the Bears would have started trying to look at assistants for a new head coaching job this next upcoming season. But with the win, I think it looks like they're going to ride with Nagy against the Giants and then the Vikings. And frankly, those games look to be pretty meaningless. Our game against the Giants is a meaningless game. I mean, the Giants lose either way, as they have our first-round pick and they have their own first-round pick. So winning would pretty much possibly get them a back-to-back when it comes to draft selections. So there's an incentive for them to win that game, but at the same time, they may want to have that draft pick closer to number 1 and then have another top 10 pick. You don't know what the incentive is there. For us, it's just win games. It's just win games or lose, depending on whether or not how you look at things. But you know what? Honestly, this season's been a lost cause, and when we had that and those back-to-back losses against Pittsburgh and the Ravens, that was the moment in the season when I did realize the season was pretty much over. I mean, that win against Detroit was like, all right, that was the break in our schedule. We now have Arizona and Green Bay. It's over. So we lost those 2 games. We lost against the Vikings. And, well, I don't want to talk about that Vikings game. I thought this offense was turning a corner after Green Bay, but no, my goodness. Anyways, they get the win here. They get their 5th win of the year. A 5-12 or a 6-11 season looks to be the destiny for this team if they can get the win against the Giants, or they lose against the Giants and beat the Vikings, or they somehow win both games and go 7-10. Who knows? But it's been a long season. This was a season I wasn't expecting to do well in. I was honestly kind of saying, let's go ahead and not do great this year to get a better draft pick. But obviously, that was before the draft, before we traded away our first-round pick this upcoming draft for Justin Fields. So there's a lot to talk about with the moves coming up in the offseason that I can totally make another video for, and it looks like that's probably what I want to do. And, man, this was a gutsy win and a big win in the snow. It's been a while since the Bears have participated in a snow game. The last one, I think, off the top of my head, was against Cleveland all the way back in 2017 at home. Maybe there's another snow game, and I can't remember. But, man, it was nice to see some snow out on the field. That's that's football weather for you. And so that was a big win against Seattle. And honestly, for Seattle, not only did us beating them take them out of the playoffs, but it may have ended the Carroll and Wilson era. This may be the loss that gets the organization, raises their radars to say, hey, we might have to make this move. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they make this move. Seattle's in a similar situation. They've got Detroit this weekend, and they've got a division game against one of the other teams in their division, which is absolutely stacked. It's really difficult for Seattle to really get anything. They're probably going to get a 6-11 season, which is the first losing season since Wilson took over. It's weird to think of the Seahawks as a 6-11 or a 6-10, however you want to put it, with the 16 or 17 game schedule. It's weird to think of it like that, but you know what? It's reality, and it looks like the magic beans have kind of run out for Russell Wilson. Now that leads to questions on whether or not he's going to be traded and what the future of his career in Seattle looks like, but that's a topic for another day. Bears play the Giants. They could win that game. I mean, the Giants played very well against the Eagles through the first half, 3-3, and ended up letting up 31 points in the second half against the Eagles and lost 34-10. We can win this game against the Giants. That's the last game I'm looking at as a possibility for a victory. We go to Minnesota to end the year. That's been the theme for the past handful of years outside of last year. But it looks like that might be the destiny. So that is going to do it for this one because I really have nothing else to say. Bears play the Giants next, and it could be our 6th win and our final win of the season. That's going to do it for me. If you like to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.